and welcome to Cooking with the Mo. Today I have something very healthy and very delicious coming your way. We're going to start with the veggie alfredo stuffed shells. We're going to cut our vegetables, put them in the pan with a little olive oil, seasoning, stuff the shells, make a little alfredo with heavy cream sauce, put it on top of the shells, and voila, delicioso. So I have some spinach here that I'm going to get to chopping. I don't really use measurements. I just go with the flow because I like spinach, and spinach is good for you, so you can never have too much spinach. So I'm going to get to chopping that up a little fine, and once we put it in the pan, it's going to shrivel up anyway, but still want to chop it up because whole pieces of spinach can be a pain in the butt, and we don't want pain, we want pleasure. So I take that, put it in one big bowl, and then once we're finished, we're going to take all the veggies that we've chopped up in this bowl and put them in the pan. So we have spinach, and then we have a orange bell pepper. We're going to get that de-seeded, if that's even a word. Get these seeds out, which if you're at home and you're making this, you can take your seeds and grow more bell peppers instead of going to the grocery store and continuing to spend money. But you know, some of us don't think like that. We can be our own home gardeners. Isn't it cool that we can grow fruits and vegetables from seeds that we bought from the store? Like, that's wonderful. But yeah, we're gonna get to cupping that up. It doesn't matter how fine that's chopped because, like I said, everything is gonna get cooked down anyway. And I like to use whole bell peppers because, you know, it's good to have leftovers, and then sometimes you can take the extra vegetables. I've taken leftover vegetables and made nachos with it. I've, you know, made a soup base with it. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do with already cooked vegetables. Hell, you can even put it in a taco shell with cheese, and there you go. Last half of the bell pepper, we're gonna get it cut and tossed into the bowl with its cousins. Now, if you're like me, you just like to hurry up and get it all done, you can chop it all at once, or you can just split it in half. Some large pieces in here, so I'm just going around and making sure I get those down. Put it in a bowl with the rest of our veggies. Now we have the yellow. Going to get that cut. Now that is another way that you can do it. Chop it in half and then take the knife all the way around. Take the seeds out for you. And plus, the more colors, the better it looks. You know, they always say eat the colors of the rainbow, which the rainbow looks good. I'm going to take this other half and chop it. Don't worry, if your counter is clean like mine, then you have no problem eating off of it. So now we have our red bell pepper. We're going to get that chopped up, put it in the bowl with the rest of the rainbow. I didn't realize how important it was to eat the colors of the rainbow until I got a little bit older. Growing up, you know, we cut up bell peppers just because we needed it in the dressing, not because it was a certain color. So I didn't realize how important it was to have greens and oranges and reds and all of that until I got older. And then I started experimenting with food. I started just taking random vegetables that was in my refrigerator. It's like, ooh, what can I make with this? Next thing you know, I'm making veggie alfredo stuffed shells with all the colors of the rainbow. So we have red, orange, yellow bell peppers, and spinach so far. I'm going to get started on the broccoli, and then we're going to move to the green onions, habanero peppers, and the garlic, and then we're going to put it all in the pan. Now when it comes to veggies, you can be very experimental with them. Like I said, I didn't start experimenting with food until I got a little older. But I've always been the veggie cutter. So when my mom was making spaghetti, who was on chopping onions duty? I was. When it was time for the dressing, who was chopping up the garlic and the onions and the bell pepper? I was. When it was time for the greens, who was picking them and cleaning them? I was. Now when it comes to broccoli, I'm a little weird when I cut it. I like to cut it at the bottom because once you split it at the stems, the broccoli is really going to go whichever way you want it. So I cut the stems off and I chop it upside down. Now, if I do want the broccoli crowns to be more separated, I will chop it up. However, when you chop it upside down, always bring that crown upside down. And then with broccoli too, as you cook it, it kind of breaks up on its own. The more you cook it, the more tender it gets, the more it breaks down. So it's always good, even if you don't want it finely chopped, just to have it finely chopped. Especially for this recipe, we're going to be stuffing the shells. So the broccoli needs to be fine enough with the rest of the vegetables so that it can fit in the shells. Now we have our green onions. I'm going to take off some of that skin that's a little soft and mushy. Chop off a little of the ends because that's not what we're going to use. And then we're just going to chop it whole. Green onions I love. I fell in love with green onions by eating Chinese food. First time I had it, I was like, I have to have more. Now every time I get a veggie fried rice or something that has green onions, I always want extra. And plus green onions are good for you. And they're not as strong as red onions. And it's just darn good. You just chop it whole. Doesn't matter which end you start from or how you want to chop it. Green onions is good for everything and anything. Really. You can put it in whatever you want, whenever you want. Hell, you can even cook it whole if you want to. Ain't no shame in your game. So I'm just going to use 2 of those for now. And now I'm going to get to my garlic, which I love garlic. I love garlic. I don't care if it makes my breath stink. I think it's good. And plus it's healthy for you anyway. So you can never go wrong with having a lot of garlic. And to keep the vampires away, those bloodsuckers. So I'm going to go ahead and get that chopped up. Do a chop it the long way and then the short way. And then do that all around the world chopping thing I like with the knife. I can't remember the exact name of the technique. But whoever came up with that is a genius. And then while that's cooking, I'm also going to put my shells in the water. Now, when I take my shells out, I'm going to want them completely done because I'm going to stuff them immediately and just put the sauce right over it. There's no oven, no none of that. Just put the veggies in the shells and then put the sauce over it, and then you have your veggie stuffed alfredo. And this piece of garlic is giving me a hard time. I guess it's mad it got separated from his family. But it's okay, you all going in the same place, in my belly. Then we're going to chop up more garlic for our cream sauce. So this is going to be enough for now. We're just going to take that, put it in a bowl. I'm going to put the shells in the water. Just turn that water up a little bit. Now, even though veggies have their own taste, I'm going to season it. Look at that rainbow. That is the most beautiful rainbow you will ever see. And now it made me remember, I'm missing a color. Purple. Now, I love onions just as much as I love garlic. Growing up, I ate onion raw. My great-granddad, who's from Louisiana, he always made mayo and onion sandwiches. And I know some people may be like, ugh, but I was like, And I would eat it, and even to this day, I called him, I said, Granddad, you had any onion sandwiches today? He, nah, baby, I ain't having it today. He's in a living facility, and apparently the nurses doesn't like it when he asks for onion and mayo sandwiches. So, it's whatever, but I love onions. I don't care if it's purple, white, green, red, orange, turquoise, blue. I love onions. Now we have a rainbow. Now we have a rainbow. And then you also have to be careful with onions. I'm putting this in increments because even though we're going to cook it down, sometimes red onions can still have that acidic taste even after it's been cooked. So you just want to be mindful, careful of how much of the onions you put into your mix. But if you're a person like me, just go ahead and put the whole onion in there and say sorry to whoever you got to speak to later. So I'm going to season these, and then I'm going to season it again when I put it in the pot, because some of those seasonings will cook off. This look good. I can just eat this right now. So I have some turmeric, some white pepper, some red crushed flakes, some cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is good for you too, so the more the merrier, the more healthy you'll feel and be. Got some chili powder, some black pepper, mustard, and some lemon pepper. Mustard, ground mustard that is, and some black pepper. Now I know y'all like, man, that's gonna be spicy, but nah. Because as soon as those spices hit that pan and hit that skillet, you won't even know. Which is why I'm going to season it again when we put it in the bowl and the skillet. So this is all seasoned and delicious looking. If you wanted to, you could just put that on a plate, put a little olive oil, and that's a salad. So now we're going to put it in the pan. Some olive oil, and we got a little water in it. We're going to let that water that's in there cook out. We're going to check out our shells, which are doing great. They will be done soon. And like I said, you want these shells to be all the way done. All the way done. Because once they come out of the water and they cool off, they're going to get stuffed immediately. So now the pan is ready and hot. I'm going to put some olive oil in it. And then we're going to pour our vegetables right in that hot skillet. And I like to test it a little bit, because if it don't sizzle, it ain't ready. Now, you might smell the aromas immediately. Sometimes take a little minute, but you want to cook this until you see the spinach start to shrivel. Once that spinach starts to shrivel up, you're about good to go. And also it depends on how tender you want your vegetables. If you want your vegetables almost raw and still kind of crunchy, then that's cool. If you want them like me, a little soft, but still a little crunchy, Wait till that's finished, Rebel, or until you're ready for it. So we're going to let that cook, and then once it's finished, we're going to stuff the shells in and get to our Alfredo sauce. And then another thing about the shells, I need to stop bothering them too, because once they get ready, they're going to fall apart easily, which is why I'm glad I came across the cold water trick to the potatoes and the shells. Put them in cold water. They'll be stiff for a little while, but you want to catch it while it's in that stiffness, because if you don't, it's going to fall apart and you might be a little mad. So once our vegetables are to my liking, I'm going to take them out the pan and put the heavy cream in immediately. Now I'm not going to wash the pan off because I want that seasoning from the vegetables to still be there, and that's also what's going to help flavor the heavy cream sauce for our Alfredos. The spinach hasn't withered all the way yet, but it's almost there. Cool. Now, my vegetables are to my liking. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them in the bowl. I just want to take those few extra veggies out, because even though there is a heavy cream in the pan, those vegetables that you leave behind, they will burn. They can burn. Then you'll wonder why your Alfredo sauce tastes burnt. So we're going to leave those spices in there, and then we're going to add our heavy cream, about a cup. But again, this is also to your liking. So as much heavy cream sauce as you make, I double this per half cup. So if you want to feed 2 people, I put a cup. If you want to do more, you do more. But it's also if you like sauce. If you like sauce like me, just use the whole thing. Nothing wrong with that. I'm going to put a little bit more in here because as it thickens, I'm going to add cheese. Now as that cooks, and as you can see, I'm using the same spoon that I mixed the vegetables with for my sauce, because that spoon also still have the flavors from the vegetables on there. So we're going to let that cook. We're going to check on our shells, which are almost about ready. They're soft, and we don't want them mushy, because that means they're overdone. So in about 5-ish minutes, maybe less, these shells will be done, because our veggies are done. So I'm going to take a spoon, mix up those veggies, because when I'm ready to stuff, all I want to do is open the shell. I have some hands here, so as I stuff the shells, I'm going to pick up a shell, put the veggies in it, put it in the pan, and when the Alfredo sauce is finished, just pour the Alfredo sauce right over it, and then we'll be done. Gonna move those seasonings out the way. Now, one thing about Alfredo sauce is you do have to monitor it, because even though it's cooking, it can stick, and then sometimes, you know, the top gets sealed and it sticks together and clumps form. So it's always a good thing to watch it. Now when I put the cream in the pan, I'll leave it for a second or two, that just because it's not doing any harm or damage, the cream just hit the pan. However, once you see those bubbles start to form, that's when you want to watch it. That's when the sticking starts to happen. That's when a good Alfredo sauce can turn into a bad Alfredo sauce. So it's very good to watch it. And even if it bubbles up a little too much, you can tell. You can eyeball it and tell it, whoa, I need to turn it down, or whoa, I need to turn it up. So it's always a good thing to eyeball it. Even people who've been cooking Alfredo sauce for 30 or 40 years will say, you know what? Don't leave that sauce on advantage. So you can see now the bubbles are starting to form. It's those bubbles, baby. Also, if it's too loose, it's not ready. One thing about heavy cream is it has to be thick. If it's still loose and flowing like water, you might want it to cook a little bit longer. But that's another reason why you want to continue to stir it too. And I'm also going to season the Alfredo sauce. Now, I'm going to make this a little spicy. I have some habanero peppers. I have some habanero peppers, which are more spicier than jalapenos. But I am going to cut them in half so that some of those seeds can escape. Because we all know the trick to spice is the seed. So you can eat a whole pepper that's seedless. You probably have a sting, but it won't burn because those seeds aren't there. Now, one thing about habanero peppers, cut those a little tedious because, like I say, the more seeds, the more spice. And I'm putting this directly in the Alfredo sauce. Directly. Not in the shells, not in the veggie mix, directly in the Alfredo sauce. In the Alfredo sauce. Now, even though it's not finely like I want it, I'm just going to do my favorite knife trick, which I adore so much. And we're going to chop it up. What's the song? Chopper style. Chopper style. Now, Alfredo sauce should be about ready. So this is what I mean when you say leave it unattended. If you come back to your sauce and the bubbles are formed up, it's just about ready. But another thing too is if it has too many bubbles, that means it's too hot. So this is a sign to me that I need to turn it down. Again, this is how your good Alfredo sauce turns into bad Alfredo sauce. And there's also some Alfredo sauce that sticks to the side. If you want to take that off the side and put it in the cream, that's what's going to help with thickness, because most of those parts that's on the side is already thick. It's already thick. And also, the more heavy cream, the longer it takes to get thicker. Now, sometimes what is good is if you do it in increments. So you add maybe a half cup of heavy cream, and then as it thickens, you add more. And then it will continue to thicken as you add. But if you're ready to eat, when you're ready to eat, you put all the heavy cream sauce in there and you stir it until it's thick, and then you're ready to go. Now these shells are just about done. Just about. Now I'm going to get that cold water running, because when they are done, all I want to do is get this stuff in immediately. My heavy cream sauce is just about done. You know when it's done, when you take a spoon, go down through it. The longer it takes the cream to stick back together is how thick your cream sauce will be. So if you run your spoon through the skillet and it runs back together like water, it's not thick. However, if that's how you like your sauce, then it's ready. I want my sauce a little thicker, and then once again, I'm also going to add cheese. So the thicker your cream sauce, the better it is. But when you add cheese, it gets thicker. So if you already have a cheese, if you already have heavy cream that is thick and you add cheese, it's going to get thicker. But if it's a little loose and a little runny and you add cheese, it's going to thicken immediately. because cheese already has its own cultures, should I say, inside of it that already has it to naturally come together when it's ready. So my shells are done. I'm going to take them out. I'm going to some cold water. Come on, what? It's still steaming, but I'm just going to start with those for now. Heavy cream sauce, you can turn it down low and let it still cook, but make sure you come back to stir it occasionally, because that's how that good alfredo sauce turn into bad alfredo sauce. And then I'm also going to add my habanero peppers in my sauce while it's cooking down, so some of that spices can start to ease up. So shells are ready. You take our shell. Some of them are already open, and you just put it in there. You just put them in your pan or your bowl or however you want to serve it. Now some of them may be a little harder. You might have to fight with it a little bit. You just open it up, put the veggies in. You want to make sure you get a little bit of everything. You know, rainbow is good. Ooh, I'm so excited. Just can't hide. And like I say, some of them do stick together and some of them are still hot. But if you can handle the heat, it ain't nothing but a thing. Uh-oh. Hold on. Okay. Like I said, these shells, and you can tell when the shell is ready too, because it fights with you. It's like, why are you touching me? Why are you opening me? Why are you stuffing me with vegetables that smell good? You know? So, get them stuffed. You might have to fight with it, because I'm fighting with it. You know, I just want to put them in there. And you can stuff these with anything. You can put some meat in here, or you can just eat it like this. Now, between stuffing the shells and chopping the vegetables, that's probably the most time consuming. Now, if you want to buy some already chopped up vegetables and just toss them in the pan, that's good too. But if you're like me and you like different kind of vegetables with different kind of things, then all the vegetables you want for your dish, just take it, chop it up. Now, like I say, these shells, they do fight with you. So you gotta show them who's boss, who's the human here. I'm the human. Now we got the first pan that's finished. We're gonna get to stuffing the rest of these shells. This one is a little different, but it's okay. We love different, right? It's okay. We don't discriminate. Still gonna eat good. And once again, these shells will fight with you, so you have to show who's boss. Now I can hear my cream screaming. I hear my alfredo sauce saying, "Stir me, stir me, stir me, stir me." So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm also going to turn it off. Turn it off, you stir it, and it's done. Now mine started to stick a little bit, but the more you stir it, it's going to come right up. Now I don't even need cheese for this because it's already thick. So I'm just going to leave be. But you can tell from that color, from those peppers that I added, that it's going to be good, and it might be a little spicy, but we cooked it down some, so it might not be as spicy. So we have our shells, which have been stuffed, and we have our cream sauce, which is ready. So you can see how the orange from the habanero peppers have come in. You can also see it's thickened. We're gonna do that test here. The longer it takes to come back together, the thicker it is. But I'm also moving the pan down, but it's thick. So you're literally just gonna take it, pour it over the top. Now if you wanna add cheese, you can. Just pour it over the top. And if you also want to put it in the oven, that's cool too, however you want to do it. This is good. I'm ready to dig in. Now I'm going to leave this in the pan like this, just so it won't fall all over the place. But what I'm doing now, since some of the cream stuck to the pan, you just want to take the spoon. See, that's a lot of sauce. Then you have veggie alfredo stuffed shells. I'm ready to taste it now. We use broccoli, all the colors of the rainbow bell peppers, onions, green and red. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little seasoning on top. Just a little bit. Because I taste all spices. But you can never go wrong with adding seasoning on top. So I'm going to put a little mustard on the top. And I have some garlic and herb dash. This has a little salt because I didn't use any salt in this whole dish. And just puts it on top. And now we're going to go in for a round two. I have some cilantro that I'm going to top my shells off with. You can never go wrong with cilantro, but I am going to chop it finely because we want just a taste. Don't want a lot. So as fine as I can get it is how I'm going to chop it. Then literally just sprinkle it over. So I guess they all decided to stay together today. Plus you can never go wrong. Looks beautiful. So we've topped it off with our cilantro. Now we have to go in again for another taste, which I know it's gotta be good, but why not? That's what I'm talking about. Make you wanna dance. You know somebody. And need I mind you, I didn't use any salt here. None. Which goes to show you don't need salt for flavor. However, you do need seasonings for flavor. Spices and herbs. And that cilantro definitely added a kick. Look at that. I know y'all want to taste it through the camera. It looks good. It tastes good too. Now, you all have gotten a good recipe out of me. I appreciate you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time on Cooking with the Mo.